To talk about testing SAP and package applications. My name is Daniel Davalli. I'm a solution architect for Tricentis. So the first point I'd like to make is on the importance of testing end-to-end an application. And with that, I would like to give you with one thought right there. Yeah. So as you can see, the importance of testing an end-to-end solution is that your business is integrated. So that means your software testing should be as well. When you test SAP or a package application, you're not only testing that particular application alone. That will be in the literature what we call system testing. You should test integrated tests. You should test your end-to-end user acceptance test. And there aren't any other applications today that allow you to do that in the way Tosca does. And this is what we're proposing. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the Gartner reports, not only Tosca is the leader for 4 years in a row of test automation in the test automation quadrant, but we're also the leader for the enterprise end-to-end testing. So as you can see, we're far ahead from our competitors. And this is a repeat from the study from last year. This is also 2018. So since 2 years, the end-to-end testing, and for 4 years, the test automation too. And why is that? And the reason is very simple. We have a very expensive technology support of over 150 technologies. From open source tools such as Selenium and Appium, as we just saw in the mobile demo, Appium is the framework we use for mobile testing. From a technology support, all the languages and desktop applications, from all the common and most common used package applications, which we're going to talk today, as well as DevOps support, your Jira, your Jenkins, for your CI/CD integrations. So let me very briefly touch upon the differentiators of Tosca when comparing to any other tool in the market that cannot get even close to what Tosca can do. Number one is the support for the end-to-end. So as we support multiple technologies, we do not have the restriction of having to use multiple tools when automating. All you need is Tosca to actually integrate and do your end-to-end testing. Number two, the most comprehensive test automation for UI and API. The same way we work for UIs, you do the same type of testing for APIs. On-demand integrated test data management. As a tester for over 20 years, I know one of the biggest nightmares we have is test data, as Brad was mentioning this morning in his session, test data management. So we have an integrated test data management solution that can do multiple things from algorithms to masking data and synthesizing production data. Integrated orchestrated service virtualization, because not all of the systems are available on the test environments, right? So we know that very well. Test environments are not ready for us to test, so how do we actually do the end-to-end testing? If a developer doesn't have a service running at some point and he's just beginning to deliver his services, we can actually test through the definition files, through JSON, to XMLs and whatnot. So that actually does in-sprint testing possible as well. Integrated on the cloud load testing. You probably saw some of the flood presentations, and you don't need another test case. You basically need the same functional tests and use them on flood, either from an API or from an UI perspective as well. We are the only scriptless model-based test automation tool. There is no scripting needed, so it's very used to create an automation test. We have business intelligence solution testing and accelerator packages that I'm going to mention a little farther down. So let's talk about the package applications themselves. Not sure if you've seen those reports from Panorama, but this is the 2019 report with some data from 17 and 18 as well. And you can see the top three account for about 50% of the market. So one big change from last year, you can see the vendor selection on Microsoft Dynamics actually growing, but SAP continues to be a big leader in that sense. One big change, in my opinion, is the implementation time, which is about a year, a little over a year. In my professional experience, this is definitely over 2 years in an implementation, especially in a migration. The total cost of ownership is quite telling, right? So it's $2 million cost of ownership. If you know that testing applications take about 40% of your budget, if you can save some of that in those $2 million, we're talking about $500,000, $700K savings on your overall total cost of ownership. So that's a big gain that we can have. And that's because we have the industry broadest support for package application. From SAP to Microsoft, to Salesforce, Oracle, Adobe, ServiceNow, and as you can see there, because of our business focused interface for ease of use and model-based test automation. Those are the top 6 package apps from the clients that we have. Here you can see a list of the SAP customers that we have per vertical, and you can recognize some of those logos, pretty big companies. Some of them are actually here doing talks and talking with you guys. So let's focus now on SAP. Let's see how we're on time. I think we're doing okay. Regarding SAP, not sure if you have familiarity with SAP numbers, but 400,000 customers in 180 countries. So this is a huge market. This generates about 300 billion in services every time. And now, as you know, SAP will discontinue its support for its ECC 6.0 in 2025. So that means companies will need to migrate to S4HANA. So how would you do this if you don't have a test automation tool that would support you on this path? And we can do this because Tosca has the most comprehensive support for UI and API. Every single version of GUI on SAP, every single service and REST and API supported and used in SAP as well is supported in Tosca. Key differentiators there. We're the only solution manager certified for 7.2, and that's key for those that use solution manager. The model-based test automation is just as good as we have for any other of our other applications. We have resilient end-to-end test across. Our accelerator packages, as I mentioned, we have actually all the T-codes of SAP ready in the modules and the test cases, over 600 end-to-end test cases that are available for you to use. So that saves you about 5 months, 6 months of actually creation of those test cases. And lastly, we have Live Compare. As you see in our booth over there, that saves you an average 85%, because what Live Compare does is allows you to only test what's being changed and affected on your code changes. So that reduces your time on average on 85%, and that's very, very impressive. And you can do intraday, in the same day, you do an analysis of your ECC, which will also help you on doing, if you're doing a migration, if you're doing regression tests, and so forth. Let's talk about Salesforce. So the size of Salesforce today in the market, 90% of Fortune 100 use Salesforce. It's a huge footprint, so big CRM, and they're moving away. They're also in the leader quadrant in the CRM engagement center. And as you can see, we also support all the other applications that are there in the leader quadrant, and that's the benefits of the package apps support in Tosca. What do we have for Salesforce? So we have the Salesforce New Engine 3.0, which is much faster and has classic and Lightning UI support. That's very important. But what I like the most is the AI-assisted modeling. So the one-click scanner creates every single module in your own Salesforce version in 90 seconds. So you don't have to create any of the modules. All you have to do is then sequence them in your test cases in the way the business flow that you require. So that's very, very big differentiator there. Reducing your automation by 50% and increasing your coverage of your tests. Be release ready for Salesforce. Talking about being release ready, let's talk about Oracle. And Oracle as well is the leader in the data management solutions. But the point I like to mention is on the right side. If you look at that graph on the top side, is the number of patches per month for Oracle. So you got an average of 300 patches going out every single month. And on the bottom, you kind of have the distribution where they are. Regardless where they are, you got to test them. And you cannot test them if you don't have test automation. And how would you test automation in a system that's integrated with SAP, Salesforce, and Oracle if you don't have something like Tosca? And those are the differentiators. You have support for Oracle Siebel CRM to simplify your end-to-end testing. We have support for Oracle EBS to jumpstart your test automation. Full support for all the UIs and APIs for Oracle as well. And we align the test with your business risks. We also have just delivered the Oracle Engine 3.0. That's faster, and many of our clients are giving us good feedback on the speed of this application. I might have rushed this a little bit, but I want to thank you anyway for your time. And why you perhaps will have some questions, I'll leave you with the video of the actual execution of Tosca on SAP, on Oracle and on Salesforce, so you can actually see it in run. And I'll open for some questions if you have them right now. Yes.